Good morning, everybody. We are here again with our Maamar B'chol Dor Vador for Pesach. We are up to Ois Dalid, and we are, I'm going to finish within the next few days, so we'll definitely be finished before Pesach, just in time to really live with the holiday. Yesterday, we did a whole quick review, so today we're just going to keep moving forward. If you missed yesterday's class, feel free to go to our YouTube channel and you can watch the recording. Okay, so for everybody who has the actual Sefer, we're on page 44. And I'm going to start, even though we technically covered a little bit of this yesterday in our class, I want to start again because it was a bit rushed at the end. So I want to make sure we're getting this. Okay, so Ois Dalid. Okay, so there's a pasuk in Tehillim, and as I explained yesterday, I looked it up, and the kapitel is very, very beautiful, and it begins by David HaMelech bemoaning how Galus works, that sometimes we can, sometimes people that do not good things get rewards, and the people that do good things and that go on the Eibishter's path get punished, so to speak, punishment. And in the beginning, David HaMelech is not complaining. He's unhappy about that. But then a bit over halfway through the kapitel, David HaMelech changes the tone of the Tehillim, and he says, but once you actually realize what's happening in Shamayim and what's going to happen, what the truth of what's really happening, what's going to happen at the end of days, you realize that as much as those people might be getting a reward, not a reward, it feels like they're getting a reward now. In reality, Hashem is the true judge and Hashem is emes, and so therefore everything that happens is going to get its retribution at the right time, and so we shouldn't be down about it. So this pasuk that we're quoting in our Maamar talks about this whole the second level, this aspect of revelation of Hashem, and to the point where we're able to see Hashem, we're able to see the truth of what happens. So the pasuk begins like this: my flesh and my heart long for you. Hashem is the strength of my heart and my portion forever, right? So this is the pasuk that we're going to be working on, and the pasuk beforehand, which is who is our heart, who is our strength of our heart, and who is our portion. And there's a pasuk about that. Okay, so both of these pasukim in Tehillim will lead up to what we're trying to, they're building up. Let me see if I missed something. Oh, thank you. Kapitel 73, pasuk 26 and 25. So 25, but yeah, 73. Okay. So, well, let's start. The unreserved love, right? Because we spoke about how Shema connects us to this level, which is bli gvul, which is without limitations. And when we say Shema every single day in the morning and in the evening, we're reliving Yetzias Mitzrayim. We're reliving exiting from Egypt. And not only that, but the aspect of the basic kavanah that we're meant to have when we say Hashem Echad, is that we're willing to have Mesiras Nefesh, full-blown self-sacrifice for the Eibishter. And so therefore we are going self-sacrifice. It's literally the most out of our limitations that we can possibly ever do. And so therefore saying Shema gets us to this level of unrestrained love, like we're beyond limitations with our love for Hashem. So the Ois Dalid begins. The unreserved love described above is expressed in the pasuk. My flesh and my heart long for you. Hashem is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. Okay, so we're going to analyze that. And again, that's kapitel 73, pasuk 26. This verse expresses our longing and our yearning for Hashem, for godliness. and the tremendous delight that we derive from godliness. Okay, so it's our longing and yearning, and again, we realize that this is really essentially what we're going through, as we spoke last night and at the mock seder, that there's a sensitivity that we need to build to listen to the cries of our nefesh elokis. And so even though we may spend a big chunk of our day at work or with our kids or doing mundane things, so to speak, the reality is that our neshama always has this longing, this love, this longing for Hashem, yearning for Hashem. Okay, so the verse expresses our longing and our yearning for godliness and the tremendous delight, just like working out, lahavdil, but like you don't always get yourself into the mode, but once you're in it, once you finish, you're so proud of yourself. So too with, let's say, davening, or again, it's a big lahavdil because it's different worlds, but davening and learning, sometimes you may not feel the mood to get into it, but once you do get into it, you're like, wow, this is such a beautiful thing. It's such a delight. So the tremendous delight we derive from godliness. Reb Avram ibn Ezra explains in his commentary on Tehillim that these two terms refer to the body and the soul, right? Because we said my flesh and my heart long for you. So my flesh is my body and my heart is my neshama, both of which experience the outpouring of longing for Hashem, as well as finding great delight in Him. Why, and this again, a beautiful question, why indeed do we feel this way? Why is it that we feel this longing for the Eibishter? The continuation of the Pasuk provides the answer. Who is our heart? Who is our strength of our heart? And who is our portion? Hashem. So Hashem is everything. The verse concludes with the word forever, emphasizing that these sentiments are unchangeable and everlasting. So we will forever have this longing for the Eibishter. We will forever have this longing for godliness. We'll forever have this desire to connect to godliness. In the Tzemach Tzedek's notes on Tehillim, he explains that this love stems from the level of Yechida, right? We said that Yechida is the deepest connection that we have, the highest quote-unquote level of our neshama, that it's the deepest, closest relationship, the closest Yechida, the oneness with Hashem. And so this love stems with this level of our neshama that is so connected to the Eibishter, and is the same type of love expressed in the pasuk mentioned earlier. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Right, as we say in Shema, v'chol levavcha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha. Now, let's check out the footnotes following this. The other levels of the neshama inspire a bond with Hashem that can be defined and categorized. For example, connecting to Hashem with our intellect or emotions. The level of Yechida, however, is expressed in an unreserved dedication to Hashem that far surpasses the limited connection achieved via the other levels, namely the love of with all your might, as explained above, right? So every time we feel love for Hashem with all of our other ways, with all of our other levels of our neshama, so then we have a tangible, defined and categorized way of doing it. We are able to connect to Hashem through our emotions. We're able to connect to Hashem through our intellect. All of these things, each one of their neshamas, each one of our levels of our neshama has a level that is defined of how we can connect to the Eibishter. That said, with the level of Yechida, we're able to have this limitless love for Hashem beyond any type of definition or relation, and therefore this level, love that comes from the level of Yechida reaches the level of with all your might. And as we said earlier in the Maamar, with all your might means beyond limitations. When we love Hashem in all these three ways, including all of our might, meaning three ways means with our intellect, because we think about Hashem, we get up and we come join our Living Chassidus shirim, and we learn and we daven and all these good things. So we think about Hashem, that's our intellect. Our emotions are, we actually work through what we're thinking, and we start feeling a desire for godliness. We start feeling a desire for taking on a chata, for connecting more, for learning even more, for bringing and educating our children with this mindset. And with all your might means beyond all of those limitations, me and Hashem, we are one, and I want to connect no matter what, beyond my limitations, no matter what holds me back. I want to have this loving relationship with the Eibishter. Okay? So when we love Hashem in all three of these ways, including all of our might, it shows we're on the level of fulfilling the will of Hashem, as is the well-known teaching of Rabbi Daber, the Maggid of Mezrich. We actually speak about this. I want to read this, maybe not all of it, but I do want to read a bit of this footnote, because we speak about this in Shar B'Tachon, which Mitzvah Hashem are going to be having a shir tonight, so everyone can join us. But we do speak about this in Shar B'Tachon and in Talmud Brachos, so footnote 63. In Talmud Brachos, cites the opinion of Reb Shimon Bar Yochai that when Jews fulfill the will of Hashem to perfection, meaning we really, really work hard, their material needs are supplied by others, allowing them to devote their time to studying Torah. By contrast, when they do not properly fulfill the will of Hashem, they must spend time and energy earning a livelihood. Reb Shimon further stated that the verse, "You will gather your grain in Dvarim," in the second paragraph of the Shema, refers to a time when Yidden belonged to the latter category, because if they would belong to the former category, which meaning they will gather their grain, means that they don't fulfill Torah mitzvahs or their avodas with Hashem to the utmost extent, so therefore their stuff isn't being provided to them. Because if they would belong to the former category, which means that they are fulfilling, there would be no need for them to gather their grain themselves. One of the differences between the first and the second paragraphs of the Shema is that in the first, the pasuk describing a love for Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might, while in the second, the love of Hashem is described as being with all your hearts and with all your souls, in plural, and omitting the with all your might. Based on the above pasuk in the Talmud, the second paragraph of the Shema refers to a time when Yidden are not properly fulfilling the will of Hashem. The Maggid of Mezrich explains that when we love Hashem with all of our heart and with all of our soul and not with all of our might, it is subtly considered not fulfilling the will of Hashem. To truly fulfill the will of Hashem to perfection, we must also love Him with all of our might, as stated in the first paragraph of Shema. Okay? So, as we see from the teachings of the Maggid of Mezrich, that if we make sure that with our avodah, we're going above and beyond, we're really, really, really pushing ourselves beyond our limits. And again, it doesn't mean self-destruction. We're not talking about self-destruction, chas v'shalom. It's just doing one more push, one more thing that you wouldn't have thought. So for example, now a lot of people are working really hard to say the Nasi of the day, because now is the month of Nisan, we're meant to be saying the Nasi. So if you're davening, you usually manage to squeeze a bit, so squeeze a bit more. Just push yourself a little bit more out of your comfort zone and do a little bit more for the Eibishter today. And when we do that, then we're actually fulfilling this desire of Hashem, and then Hashem can take care of us. And if we keep working towards this, Hashem will take care of us. And we have to have, and we speak about this in Shar B'Tachon, we have to have the trust that the Eibishter is going to take care of us, the Gashmias, because we're doing our part, Baruchnis. Again, doesn't mean you don't do anything with Gashmias. Don't sit around and scratch your belly hoping that a check will come. We have to do our part to do our B'dir B'Tachtonim as well. And again, we'll discuss this, I'm pretty sure, tonight in our Shar B'Tachon shir. But anyway, discussion for then. Back to the regular text of the Maamar, page 46. When we serve Hashem in the manner described above, we are able to clearly see the word of Hashem found within every entity in the universe, that the mouth of Hashem has spoken, right? So the goal when Mashiach comes is that we'll be able to see Hashem creating every single aspect of the universe. And so when we serve Hashem in such a way that we push ourselves just a bit further every single day, so therefore we're actually able to create this level that we are able to see the Eibusher in every single aspect of our lives, and we're able to help others in our community and around us to see the Eibusher. Okay, perfect. We're doing great on time. Okay, turn the page to page 48. The proceeding, okay, so this is starting a new quote unquote section within this ice. Nothing but the king. The preceding pasuk states, whom do I have in the heavens other than you? I do not desire anything together with you in the earth. Okay, so so we said in Tehillim, Kapitel 73, pasuk 26, we said, my flesh and my heart long for you. God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever, right? And the pasuk right before that in the Kapitel of Tehillim says, whom do I have in the heavens other than you? I do not desire anything together with you in the earth, right? So remember we were saying that David HaMelech was unhappy about the fact that other people get treats, other people get rewards, so to speak, even though they do not good things, they get rewards in this world. So David HaMelech is changing our mindset to be more aware and more focused on the truth and the godliness. And so therefore we're able to see that in heavens, all we have is Hashem. And here in earth, we don't want anything other than Hashem anyway. So therefore my flesh and my heart long for you, right? So then that's the first pasuk, and then followed by the next pasuk. In his work of Sherish Mitzvahs HaTfilah, the Tzemach Tzedek explains the type of love expressed in this pasuk by telling the story, by relating. And this is, again, it's a story that the Tzemach Tzedek explained. When my father and my master and teacher, Reb Shneur Zalman of Liadi, the Alter Rebbe, would be in a state of dveikus, of spiritual ecstasy, he would be heard saying the following. And again, we learned this was in Hayom Yom, I think maybe like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And there's a commentary on this, which means he would be heard, means it wasn't just once, it means it was like a regular occurrence. So the Alter Rebbe, when he was in a state of dveikus, he would be heard saying the following: I do not want anything. I do not want your Gan Eden. I do not want your Olam Haba. All I want is you, yourself. It is known that, okay, 1 second, we have to unpack that for a second. You yourself, I do not want your Gan Eden. I do not want your, so the Eibusher has all these beautiful levels of pleasure that a neshama gets at different times or experiences at different times. And the Alter Rebbe is saying, in a state of dveikus, his neshama was so connected that he was so to speak, in body he was in this world, and in mind and in spirituality he was connected to higher spiritual worlds. Which, by the way, there's ways we could accomplish that whatever. It's a different class for a different time, but we can have a discussion about reaching dveikus in our lives. So don't think it's just this like far away situation. But even in a point where or not even at a point where the Alter Rebbe was so connected and he could say he was connected to the aspect of Gan Eden and connected to the aspect of Olam Haba, the Alter Rebbe would say, I don't want your Gan Eden, I don't want your Olam Haba, all I want is you yourself. Okay? It is known that Reb Shneur Zalman, the Alter Rebbe, measured and calculated his every word, all the more so when he was in a state of dveikus, spiritual ecstasy. The preciseness of Reb Shneur Zalman's wording is emphasized even more in our case, where his exact wording was transmitted as part of the account, right? So we know that the Alter Rebbe was very careful about everything he said, and how much more so the Tzemach Tzedek brought on exactly word for word how the Alter Rebbe used to say it. In light of this, we must understand why he stated, I do not want your Gan Eden, your Olam Haba. Why did he add the word your, right? He could just say, I do not want Gan Eden, I do not want Olam Haba, I just want you. The answer is that not only did Reb Shneur Zalman desire the spiritual pleasures of Gan Eden in its own right? So being this concept of going to Gan Eden is a very, very, very pleasurable situation for the neshama, but how much more so he didn't even desire to experience Gan Eden in a way where it would be apparent that it was your Gan Eden. Meaning, and we'll read the footnote, the spiritual bliss of Gan Eden is great in its own right. A yet higher level is where the soul clearly perceives how Gan Eden is not an independent entity, but a godly one. Reb Shneir Zalman did not even want such a level of Gan Eden, right? So one level is the fact that somebody, it's kind of like, it's kind of like if a person goes to, they like amusement parks, lahavdil, but they like amusement parks, okay? And they like, let's say there's a Torah amusement park, right? And this particular amusement park is fun in of itself. That's level number one. You go, you get on the rides, you have so much fun. It's a wonderful Chol Moed Pesach trip, and it's wonderful. But you not just enjoy the fact that it is amusement park and you get to go on rides, but the deeper levels that you enjoy the fact that it's a Torah amusement park. So you like the essence of what of why it's created. You like the essence of, you like the flavor, so to speak. So too with Gan Eden. So too with Gan Eden. In Gan Eden, in of itself, is a pleasurable state. How much more so the Alter Rebbe is saying, even the fact that if I were to go to Gan Eden or I have to feel this level of Gan Eden, I would realize that it's the Eibishter's Gan Eden. It's Hashem's Gan Eden. It's so much more closest to Hashem. But even that level of Gan Eden, I don't want. I want the actual essence of you, Hashem. Okay. Page 50, we just turned the page. This theme is expressed in our analogy given by the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov explains the pasuk, a prayer for a poor man in distress, and he pours out his speech before Hashem by means the following analogy. Okay, so the Baal Shem Tov has this pasuk, or he used to explain this pasuk, which is coming from another pasuk in Tehillim in Psalms 102, the first pasuk. Okay, so Baal Shem Tov explaining this pasuk, a prayer for a poor man in distress, and he pours out his speech before Hashem. So here's the story, here's the analogy that Baal Shem Tov used to say. When a person enters the king's palace, he is shown tremendous treasures in the rooms leading to the king's chamber. The great pleasure from seeing these riches may engulf him entirely and arouse deep feelings of delight, so much so that he doesn't even make it to the king's chamber. In this case, the chamber of Hashem, the King of Kings. It is possible to experience kalas nefesh, we'll explain that in a minute, through being exposed to lower revelations of godliness, even before reaching God himself. Okay, so here's the story that the Baal Shem Tov uses to explain this. So imagine if we all got invited to go to the king's palace. Lahavdil, a White House tour. And as we're walking through, we see all these beautiful chandeliers and crystal pieces and silver and gold and, famous Picasso paintings and all this fancy schmancy stuff. And we get so inspired and we get so wowed by, thank you. We get so wowed by our by what we're seeing on our way to the king's chamber, like to the king's actual room, that we get stuck there and we start reading, the museums, they have like little explanations on the bottom, the history of this thing and the history of that thing, and we get stuck and enjoy it. And so too with Hashem, that these levels, Gan Eden, Olam Haba, all of these things, learning Chassidus is such a level that you feel inspired, could actually lead to your neshama leaving. That's called a nefesh, okay? That your neshama gets so, wow, I want to be so connected to this godliness that I can't live in this world anymore. I can't live within the gullus of being in a body. And so neshama, so to speak, leaves. And that, not even to the point that we've reached to see the king himself. We haven't even reached his actual chamber to see him. But all of those things could distract us and prevent us from going straight to our goal and walking straight down the hall to actually meet the king himself. This explains the Baal Shem Tov. Explains the Baal Shem Tov is the meaning of the above mentioned pasuk. The prayer of a poor man is that he should be able to pour out his speech before God. He shouldn't get distracted. He should go straight to God. He doesn't need the heavens. He doesn't need Gan Eden, even when it is apparent that it belongs to God, meaning your Gan Eden, right? He doesn't even need Olam Haba, which is greater than Gan Eden, even when it is apparent that it belongs to Hashem. That's why we use the word your Olam Haba. Ultimately, even your Gan Eden and your Olam Haba are merely Gan Eden and Olam Haba and are not God himself, right? So as much as these are all beautiful and great, and even if it's your Gan Eden, we're able to see the Eibusher in the Gan Eden, it is not, they are not the actual Eibusher himself. What does he want? What does the poor man who's davening, who's pouring out his heart, what does the poor man want? To quote Reb Shneur Zalman, the Alter Rebbe, all I want is you. All I want is you, Hashem. That's who I want. And not only that, but the Alter Rebbe added, as we know from the saying that the Tzemach Tzedek brought down, the Alter Rebbe added, not just all I want is you, God. All I want is you, God, yourself. In other words, all he wanted was the very essence of Hashem, regarding which the pasuk says, there is nothing other than him, you yourself. You yourself, okay? This is huge. And again, this is our Rebbe speaking to us. We can attain this level. We can attain this level where we have such a deep appreciation. It doesn't mean it happens, overnight. As everybody who's been joining on a daily basis on the Maamar, I'm sure you've been feeling a difference in your avodas Hashem, even if it's just for davening, even if it's just the few hours in the morning. We can reach a level where we love Hashem and we want Hashem, that we don't want to get stuck in all the other stuff. We want to go for the Eibusher himself. And how deep is that love? It's kind of like getting married, and instead of getting married for a havdil, but getting married for the money, or getting married for the tax break, or getting married for, finally I'll be a wife and I'll have my own home. We get married because we love our husband, because he is who he is. We have an appreciation for him. We have an appreciation for who he is, not what he does for us, not the fact that he takes care of us and he loves us, the fact that he is a special person. He is himself. Okay, let's finish off this ice. Relevant to all, as I was saying. Now, the feeling expressed in the above mentioned pasuk, whom do I have in the heavens, etc., is experienced by Reb Shneur Zalman, by the Alter Rebbe, when he was in a state of dveikus. And this is, again, it's our Rebbe speaking to us. Listen to this. Nonetheless, the fact that it was repeated in a Hasidic discourse, in a Maamar, and subsequently publicized worldwide, is evidence that every Jew can achieve it, albeit to a small degree, but every single Jew can achieve this level of love for the Eibusher. How so? When we recite the first verse of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and we are ready to sacrifice our lives for the Eibusher, it is considered as if we love the Eibusher with all of our heart, with all of our soul, and with all of our might. Furthermore, it is viewed as if we have experienced the love conveyed in the pasuk, I do not desire anything together with you in the earth, as explained by the Tzemach Tzedek. Okay? So, for anyone who hasn't yet davened, who hasn't yet said Shema, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to think about. That, again, doesn't have to be a crazy, I don't know, you don't have to be insane and strip yourself of whatever, anything else, and gonna jump on a mountain and sing Nigunim and connect to the Eibusher and learn Chassidus all day. Our job is to reach this level, even if it's in just a small way. Every single day, pushing ourselves, with our intellect, making sure to think about the Eibuster by learning Chassidus, making sure to feel emotions for the Eibuster by thinking about the Chassidus, and really saying, what does this apply? How does this apply to me? How do I live with this? How can I connect to the Eibuster with such love? And not only that, to push ourselves beyond our limit just a little bit every single day. We have to break through our limitations. If yesterday I wasn't able to say a Kapitel Tehillim, today I'll set an extra bit of time to say a Kapitel Tehillim. If yesterday I wasn't able to set the time to spend quality, loving, parenting time with your children, again, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to shove Torah down their throats. You, by giving them a living example of what a good parent is, when they go and they grow up and they learn Chassidus, and it says the mashal of the Eibuster is like a parent, they'll have a good parent to look up to and say, the Eibuster loves me like my mommy loves me. My mommy is willing to spend the time. Now we're all stuck at home. They may not, some kids are young, they may not realize it in a tangible way, but they'll remember these times when we were all stuck at home and we're trying our best to be the best parent that we can be. So by us spending that extra quality time and spending that little bit of time connected to the Eibuster, connected to our children, we're showing them, we're by living example that we pushed ourselves beyond our limits, and therefore they'll be able to connect to the Eibuster when it's their turn. And beautiful. Okay. With all this, I hope, and I want to wish everybody a wonderful day. I hope you guys are enjoying the Maamar. And we have, this is Ois Hay. We're going to finish, yes, Ois Hay. We're probably going to finish Ois Hay tomorrow. And then we have Ois Dalet. So within the next probably two, maybe 3 days, we'll be finished with the Maamar. And it's very, very exciting. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining every day. Mashiach now.